First at 4, family tragedy in Oakland County. A grandmother is killed in her home, and the search for her grandson leads to a shocking twist. Also breaking new information in the story of white boy Rick. We'll tell you where he's headed right now. Andrew.
And Karen, we've got showers across Detroit and parts of southeast Michigan. How long will they last? We'll talk more about that. Your weather forecast for the weekend coming up.
Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew with breaking news in the long-running legal battle facing Rick Wershe, better known as White Boy Rick. He has been released from a Michigan prison and is now on his way to Florida. Wershe waived an extradition hearing earlier this month. He will serve time in Florida for a guilty plea in a car theft ring. He was the longest-serving non-violent offender in Michigan history until his parole was granted last month. Defender Kevin Dietz will be here tonight at 5 to take a look at what Wershe is facing in Florida and how much time he could serve there. Moving now to Oakland County, a murder story with shocking twists. First, a grandmother is found stabbed to death in Springfield Township. Then, her 15-year-old grandson, the suspect in the crime, is found dead on some train tracks in Holly. Our Jason Colthorpe is live at the home where this story began. Jason, what's the latest here?
Boy, Karen, this is just a strange one all the way around, and this is one of 3 scenes we've been at today. This is where 65-year-old Mary Barnes was stabbed in her bedroom early this morning, late last night, early this morning by her 15-year-old grandson, Stephen Wilkerson. That happened after his father found a note, or that happened before, rather, that about 5:40 this morning, he alerted police because he found that note that his son left stating what his intentions were, and he came here and did that. Of course, that sparked a manhunt. Now, I want to show you one of the other scenes where this all ended earlier this morning. This is in downtown Holly. These are at the train tracks, and that's where 15-year-old Stephen Wilkerson's body was found on the tracks. He was found about 10:30 shortly after his grandmother's stolen G6 was located in a parking lot around the corner. Just a shocking chain of events that left most shaking their heads.
Just a totally unfortunate circumstance that now, you know, if this is depending on how the investigation, the 2 people from the same family lost their lives, and in the way they did it, it was just, it's horrible.
Yeah, it really is, and we have learned that the 2 argued yesterday. It was a bad argument. At 5 o'clock, we're going to give you a little bit more insight into what led up to this and why. Karen?
All right, very heartbreaking. We'll check in with you at 5, Jason. Meantime, a mother in Milford is asking everyone this afternoon to pray that her son will be found safe. 22-year-old Kenneth Smith is among the 10 sailors missing in the USS John McCain's collision off the coast of Singapore. Smith was on the destroyer when it collided with an oil tanker in Southeast Asian waters Monday. Officials have confirmed they have discovered remains of some of the missing sailors, but identities have not been released. Search and rescue efforts continue. A high-speed police chase that reached speeds of 100 miles an hour ends this morning in Southfield. 3 suspects in an auto theft ring have been arrested. The men led state police on a chase that lasted hours from Royal Oak to Southfield, where the suspects were injured in a crash. State police say the incident started at 9 o'clock Monday night after an undercover task force caught the suspects in the act. The men have been wanted for over 2 years. Remember this horrible 53-car pileup on I-96 in Fowlerville? It happened back on December 8th. Well, a prosecutor now says no criminal charges will be filed in the chain reaction crash that killed 3 people, including a couple from Ann Arbor. The Livingston County prosecutor says a sudden winter storm was a factor, and there's not enough evidence to establish culpable conduct. We're seeing some afternoon rain and some storms moving through Metro Detroit. Andrew Humphrey is in for Ben Bailey this afternoon, tracking that radar. Andrew.
And Karen, we're looking at some of the rain activity, mainly south of the city, but we also have a line farther to our west that may impact the area a little bit later this evening. Here, let's zoom in a little bit closer, shall we? You can see a couple of showers here, some light to moderate in the greens and yellows just south of Wyandotte, also here right around Woodhaven. This line that extends down to the south, you just saw an update there, moving through Ida and places like Monroe between now and the next 15 minutes. And this line here, if it extends a little bit farther to the south, could give us another round of a shower or 1 or 2 thunderstorms. So far, nothing severe has popped up for this afternoon. Fingers crossed. I think that will also be the case as we go through this evening, but I'll stay on top of it for you. 77 right now, and it still remains muggy. We'll talk about changes overnight tonight and sunnier skies ahead for tomorrow and the rest of the week when I join you in a few minutes.
President Trump is headed west this Tuesday afternoon, and this comes one day after the president announced a new policy for American military involvement in Afghanistan. Devin Skilling is following the latest on the president's policies and plans and joins us from the newsroom. Devin.
Well, Karen, the president is on Air Force One right now. In fact, he'll be on the ground in Arizona soon. He will be meeting with Marines near the U.S.-Mexico border, and then he'll be speaking at a political rally, one of his favorite events. The president arrived at Joint Base Andrews late this morning for the flight to Arizona. This evening, he'll appear at a rally, expected to talk about his political policies, his agenda. Certainly, he'll point to his successes. Last night, though, the president turned away from his campaign pledges to end U.S. involvement in Afghanistan, telling the nation that the U.S. will remain committed there and will win in that conflict, which is now the longest war in American history. The president's remarks were welcomed by Afghani government leaders.
The message is very clear that if there are groups that they think that they can win militarily, they should give up their thinking. Because as long as they continue on fighting, there will be pressure on them.
Remarks mostly centered on the Taliban. Of course, President Trump's visit to Arizona raising another question, though. Some have speculated about the possibility that he might grant a pardon to former Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, also known as Sheriff Joe. He was convicted of disobeying a court order to stop immigration patrols. We'll see if there's any mention of that. Also, there are generally protesters wherever the president shows up, but after the events of last week in Charlottesville, you might, Karen, expect them to have renewed vigor. We'll be watching that as well tonight. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Devin. First at 4, we're on top of stories making headlines around the world. You could hear police sirens as 4 terror suspects were taken to court in Madrid today. They're under arrest for 2 attacks that killed 15 people in Barcelona and a Spanish resort town last week. In court, one man admitted they were planning a larger attack using bombs, but an accidental explosion stopped them. Meantime, Spanish police confirm they shot and killed a 5th suspect Monday. He's the man they believe drove a van into the crowded Las Ramblas area of Barcelona. They found him 28 miles from Barcelona after receiving reports of a suspicious person. Moving to Italy, you can see the devastation of an earthquake that hit a resort island off the coast of Naples. The quake leaves at least 2 people dead, dozens injured, and some 2,600 people homeless. The 4.0 magnitude quake hit during the height of tourist season. One family was the focus of high drama as firefighters worked to free 3 brothers all trapped in their home. At times, they were digging by hand. Take a look. This video shows the rescue of a 7-month-old baby. It took 11 more hours to free his brothers. They are 8 and 11 years old. All 3 are expected to be okay. Closer to home, 3 men are sharing the story of a life-saving rescue on a local golf course. One man collapsed, and he was very lucky when it comes to who was playing the hole behind him. Our Paula Tutman spoke with a man who won much more than a game of golf that day.
I think you could certainly debate whether or not this story is about luck or fate, but it is certainly amazing. In his 61 years, Dave Wycheck says he has never ever cheated on the golf course except once. August 3rd, the day he cheated death. After shooting one of the best holes ever, he touched his chest and collapsed.
Believe it or not, I was in the right place at the right time because those 2 guys were behind me.
Playing 2 holes behind him, 2 brothers who had taken the day off to play in a tournament when club members of Plum Hollow Country Club in Southfield raced to the greens yelling, "Is there a doctor?" There were 2.
I thought, yeah. He hasn't seen me run that fast in a while.
Yeah, I don't think ever.
Yeah.
An emergency room doc from Beaumont and a gastro doc from St. John's Providence.
I walked up to a man who was cyanotic. He was blue. He was agonal respiration, which means every 20 seconds he just did he would take a gasp.
When Dave woke up that morning, he had no idea it could have been the last time he grabbed his clubs, kissed his wife goodbye. He had heart disease, a blocked artery called the Widowmaker.
One was 100% and one was 90% blocked.
A man who's done well in life. He ate good, but not well. was living off the results of an old physical. He just assumed he was fine.
If we didn't start doing CPR, he would have either had anoxic brain injury or would have passed away.
When those two doctors jumped into action, taking turns with CPR, as one was exhausted, the other slid into place.
I've never been so happy to see an ambulance because we didn't have that much time. He was in VFib, he needed to be shocked. So Southfield EMS did an awesome job. They deserve a ton of credit.
So, have you decided? Is it luck? Fate? We know it's amazing. I think Dave would call it a wake-up call for everyone. Paula Tutman, Local 4.
Good point. A wake-up call for all of us. Thank you, Paula. Still ahead, question for you. Are you happy with your job? The answer to that question might depend on how old you are. A new survey reveals a tipping point for job satisfaction. We'll talk about that. Plus, Dr. McGeorge is here.
Well, Karen, is it healthier for your children to be popular or to have just a few close friends? I'll reveal what new research says. And is there such a thing as shopping stress in marriage? Why it is so tough to convince your husband that you're not spending too much money.
First, two people involved in this chase are under arrest, and that's the good news. It's amazing they survived the explosive ending. We'll show it to you next.
Blinded by
You're looking at a high-speed chase that came to an explosive ending. We'll show you that in a moment. But first, the driver behind the wheel of the stolen car took the highway patrol on a wild ride through Orange County, California. The chase reached speeds up to 100 miles an hour as the car weaved through traffic. The car finally crashed while exiting an off-ramp and rolling over several times before stopping in a cloud of smoke. The suspects tried to flee and run away. They were quickly arrested. In good health, this is a really important story to share because it's about friendships. And new research points to the quality, not necessarily the quantity of teen friendship when it comes to your future mental health. And Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with more on this because there are so many conversations with teens about this.
No doubt about it. And this was very interesting because the study really found that being one of the popular kids in high school did not translate into a happier life. Basically, the study followed teens for 10 years from age 15 until they were 29 years old. And it turns out the teens with close, high-quality friendships, they had less social anxiety, higher self-esteem, and fewer symptoms of depression in their 20s compared to the teens who were more focused on being popular and ultimately developed more anxiety as young adults. Now, this is especially relevant because social media, of course, tends to focus on the quantity rather than the quality of friendships.
In another story, financial matters top the list of reasons couples develop conflict. Unfortunately, the study says it's about spending perceptions, because I can spend $100 and I think that's okay, but perhaps you may think that's too much.
Well, and it's funny because actually, no matter who it is, it's still just your perception, regardless of how much. This was interesting. The researchers looked at over 700 families since 2007, so lots of time. Not surprisingly, they found husbands were most likely to develop a conflict if they thought their wives spent too much. And the wives were very sensitive to that perception, but they also found it didn't matter if the wives actually spent excessively or not. In other words, it was purely the subjective perception of the husband that was the most likely thing to spark conflict. So ultimately, this really comes down to communication. Addressing the issue is really the best way to reset the misperception. So even if you have the means, even if you do not spend too much, if they think you do,
then you're going to have a conflict. Yep, I know what you're talking about, Doc. All right, let's get back to Andrew to check out the forecast.
Yeah, switching gears quickly from that one. Hey, we're looking at some rain that's out there. We're looking at a couple of lines of showers. We even had some pretty heavy downpours move through Wayne County and right here in downtown Detroit a little more than a half hour ago. Now we've got some downpours here in Monroe, just like we talked about a few moments ago, moving off to the east, moving across western Lake Erie between now and about, well, really 4:20, only within the next 5 to 10 minutes. But we have this second line setting up. Not very strong. I mean, you don't see any lightning here. It's not really extending too much farther to the south and west, so that's some good news. And it still gets a little bit more scattered farther to the north. So maybe a minor chance of a shower or thunderstorm, especially north of the city between now and say about 6:30. That's how long it will take to move across areas of southeast Michigan. We're looking at 77 right now. In the wake of those showers, we're seeing some sunshine. Still feeling warm and muggy out there, and it will be like that with temperatures popping back into the upper 70s by 6 p.m. Then remaining in the middle 70s, still pretty humid out there. Any showers that are around at 6, 7 o'clock, I think will be minor. So plan on an on-time start just after 7 o'clock for the Tigers as they host the Yankees over at Comerica Park. And get ready for cooler conditions on the ride home because we have a cold front moving through. 76 right now for our friends in Pinckney, while it's now warmed up to 80 degrees in Grosse Ile. Behind that cold front, cooler air, while we're seeing temperatures in the middle and upper 70s, 60s, and low 70s in parts of Wisconsin, also in places like Duluth, Minnesota. So that cooler air is on the way for tonight and into tomorrow. We have this trough of low pressure on the way as well. So it clears out later on tonight. But with some activity that's still around, still a little bit of instability, a widely scattered shower or thunderstorm. Nothing severe, I don't think, may occur tomorrow afternoon. But you'll notice it'll be much cooler than what it was like today, or at least feeling that way. Highs today were around 80 degrees. Tomorrow it'll be more like middle 70s. And we stay in the 70s for highs as we go into the weekend. But we do have sunnier skies on the way. I'll show you that in a second. First, 58 degrees overnight. Some clearing and cooling happens, that is, mainly after midnight, with temperatures mostly in the middle 50s here in town, middle and low 50s in many surrounding neighborhoods. Sunset is at 8:23. During the day tomorrow, we're out of the cool 50s, and it gets milder. Not exactly August temperatures. I mean, the average high this time of year is 81, but we'll see a high of 76. And again, keep an eye to the sky for a widely scattered shower tomorrow afternoon for the ride home. After that, Karen, we're looking at, look at all that sunshine coming back. For Thursday, Hydro Fest, Friday through Sunday, with temperatures getting closer to 80 degrees by the end of the weekend. Back over to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Still ahead. Did you drop everything to watch the solar eclipse? In Trending Stories' new numbers show it was an event of Super Bowl proportions. Up first, caught on camera. This video will give many pet owners a sick feeling in their stomach. That story's next. We've seen more than a few crimes caught on tape, but this one will be tough for pet lovers to watch. A home security camera shows a stranger driving up to a home in Oklahoma City. She goes right up to the family's pet dog and takes it in broad daylight. The family brought Fiona to keep their older dog, who's blind and deaf, company. Everyone in the family is devastated. They have filed a police report and hope the video helps them get their dog back. In today's Trending Stories, are you happy at your job? The answer may depend on how old you are. A new British survey found 1 in 6 employees over the age of 35 are unhappy at work. That's more than double the amount of people under 35. It seems 35 is the tipping point when employees may start feeling burned out or perhaps worried they haven't reached their career goals. One researcher says you can fight negative feelings by making more friends at work or finding a project on the job that you are passionate about. Millions of Americans stopped to watch the solar eclipse yesterday, and Netflix actually noticed. The streaming service says traffic was down 10% yesterday as people stepped away to watch that big event. Meantime, Facebook reports 66 million people shared content related to the eclipse. So that means the eclipse did better than the Super Bowl this year, when 64 million were talking about the big game. Still ahead here, first at 4. Who doesn't love an omelet and a mimosa? We are going to reveal another vote for the best winner. See if your favorite brunch spot made the list. But first, here's a look at what I'm working on for tonight at 11. The device you give your child to keep them safe could be opening them up to a dark world, making them vulnerable to exploitation.
It's not just happening for kids on the street, it's happening in your own living room.
Sex trafficking, it's happening in every community in Michigan, including yours.
For anybody to sit back here and say this can never happen to them, yes, it can happen to you, in your child, in your house.
I'm Local 4 Defender Karen Drew. The conversation you need to have with your children to warn them about the men and women who could target them, tonight at 11. Well, it's one of my favorite meals of the day. We're talking about breakfast or brunch, and it's a great way to spend a Sunday morning. So today we have the winners for Best Brunch Spot in our Vote for the Best contest.
That's right, Karen, and the winner is Jumps in Grosse Pointe Farms. Now, it's followed by the Breakfast Club with 4 locations in Southeast Michigan, and the Pantry Restaurant in Sterling Heights, Clinton Township, and in Washington Township.
I have to say, Jumps was so kind to bring in some of these examples of the food. This is a house-made salmon cake Benedict, and they've got over here, they've got a baked French toast, and this is like a crepe, which
these crepes
amazing
look delicious.
With apricot and Grand Marnier.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. They also have biscuits here with sausage gravy and fresh chives. You also have a tea biscuit that's here as well. Absolutely wonderful food. Can't wait to dig in. And a puff pancake with fresh berries and raspberry coulier.
It does make.
Is that how I pronounce it? Did I pronounce
You did
it
a
all
good
right?
job, I think.
Coulier? All right.
We'll reveal another winner tomorrow for Best Bakery, so stay tuned. Again, congratulations to Jumps and Grosse Pointe Farms. Thanks so much for joining us for First at 4. Inside Edition is next.
With syrup.